Today I'm remembering to press the button on Instagram, which isn't working yet. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's studio time. It's Sean Shapiro from Toronto Police Traffic Services, and you are watching Ask a Traffic Cop, that show that answers your traffic and police questions live on the internet because we care. That's right. Okay, now the button's ready. What's going on, everybody? It's been a while. I was on, was it last Wednesday? It seems like forever ago. We were at the auto show. It was amazing. As you may notice from the boxes behind me, we haven't finished unpacking, but it's so nice to be home. I loved every second of the auto show, meeting everyone that came in to meet us in the booth, talking to folks who'd never heard of us but now follow us. Really, really nice. And even some nice follow-up stories, because I spoke to quite a number of people who said, you're the reason I got my G2, or you helped me so much in getting my license. And that is the best kind of review we can get. It is so nice to hear from everybody. Let's see if things are working. I don't think they are working. Let's see. We might be able to fix it. We had some issues with chat before, with TikTok coming over. So let's try this. Chat. Go 1 second. Fix things on the fly. I haven't talked about. There's so many things I haven't talked about in a while. Regardless of where you are watching, we are glad to have you here. And just so you know, there's a number of ways you can interact with us. And if we get this working, there'll be even more. Relay mode and reload mode back on. Maybe it'll work, because I see YTVKAS. I'm not going to try and pronounce that because I'll make a mess of it. Yo, that's what they said. And then we have Moto Windsor, who also says good morning. Of course, first one in the room, Akela Draconis, who I accidentally skipped. Greetings and salutations. It's been too long since we've heard that. Greg Ott says, awesome meeting you there. It was awesome meeting you too. Okay, what we got here? We got dad joke for later. We'll put that into the mix. Okay. And Akela says he's got to go and come back later. This was sort of a last minute, wasn't sure it was going to happen. And the reason why today's show may not have happened is because my computer died. I mean, like dead as a doornail, blue screen of death, call tech support, waiting for a new one. Fortunately, I was able to borrow a replacement machine. And that's how we have the show happening right now. I'm on a borrowed machine, and I am happy to be here talking to you. Let's see. If you get a chance while I'm talking about other stuff and things, YTVKAS says, I just typed random words for my name, apparently. But thank you for the explanation. It makes a difference. It means I don't have to spend as much brain power trying to figure out what you actually meant. Tian says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, too. I see a bunch of people jumping in on the Instagram. That's a thing. Let's see here. We got some comments in the TikTok, which aren't coming over, but we'll do our best to manage both rooms manually, since it doesn't seem to be my reboot kickstart didn't take. Trying one more time. I'll refresh the screen and turn this back on. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. All right, let's go into some things. So Chase says, hey, look who it is. My audio sounds worse than usual, according to, maybe actually I might know why that is. Because it's a new computer. I bet you our audio is coming out of the wrong source. And it is. It's coming out of the camera. Thank you for letting me know, because it's not even recognizing. It's not even, you know why? It can't recognize it because the USB is not plugged in. Stand by. That's a really silly reason. Hang on as we plug it in for the first time on this new machine. Here we go. Did it recognize it yet? Setting up a new Rodecaster Pro 2. Stand by. I am so glad to have your. There it goes. It just acknowledged it. And now we should have it working properly. All right. Does it sound better? Because it should. Because this microphone's actually on now. So thank you for the heads up, Chase. And what happened to everybody else? Nobody else called me. Why? Don't be nice. Tell me when the audio stinks. I want to know. Thank you again, Chase. I appreciate it. Now the sound is great. Awesome. It would be nice also if the TikTok worked, but hey, listen, what can we do? All right, let's see what's in well, let's first talk about important stuff and things. And by that I mean Vision Zero Enforcement Team. Vision Zero Enforcement Team is a great, fantastic, amazing group of people who work diligently every day to change driver behavior, one ticket at a time. What do they focus on? They focus their efforts on speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving, the stuff and things that lead to serious injury and death on our roads. And of course, we want that to stop. We're a Vision Zero city. We want people to do the right thing, follow the laws, be safer as a result. And when they don't, we need to remind them what the rules are. So officers go out and spend time issuing tickets because tickets do change driver behavior. And if they don't, eventually they just take licenses away. That's kind of what the points system is all about. It's about tracking driver behavior. Today, they are spending time in 32 Division and 51 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Downsview, Willowdale, Newtonbrook, Bathurst Manor, St. Jamestown, Cabbagetown, Riverdale, Church and Young. Those are neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. It's not just a thing. It's an important thing. Those neighborhoods want to know when we're there. That's why we tell them where we're going. And guess what? We keep going there based on important information provided by our analysts. And they appreciate it. And it's good. Now, the people who don't want to meet us have a choice. You don't have to meet us. How do you avoid meeting us? Just follow the law. We announce every day where they're going, and we announce it on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you'd like to follow us there, go to TrafficCop.ca. We have links to all of those platforms so you can find a place to subscribe. But if you're watching us now, make sure you're following and subscribing where you are. Additionally, the screen says Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can replay this event later on if you want to watch it, or you can watch it on Spotify. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts while you're driving. Listen only while you're driving, because it's illegal to watch a screen while you're driving, but we do want you to have opportunities to connect with us. And you can always ask those questions. But I met so many people at the auto show who said, I listened to you on the podcast format. And I was shocked. I didn't realize, I mean, I knew we were getting downloaded, but I didn't realize how many people watch us or listen to us in replay, don't get to catch the show live. So for those of you that are here with us right now watching live, thank you very much. I really appreciate the fact that you spent time with us and you're here to ask and interact and make those questions, which are so important to us, possible. All right. Oh, we got some questions, and because Chase is a magical man from Happy Land, he is copying and pasting questions from the chat on TikTok. It is a weird situation that this works and then doesn't work, and sometimes we can give it like chest compressions and it comes back. Sometimes it just doesn't work. So I'll put in an update to the folks at Restream to see if we can't get this thing back. All right. On behalf of, or Chase on behalf of O, asks, why aren't you in the field? We're city cops. There's very few fields here. If you mean why I'm not on the road and why am I on TikTok talking to you, I'm a media relations officer. I happen to have gotten into this role because I was injured in the line of duty, and I'm not capable of going on the road at the moment, but working towards that as a goal. That said, now that I'm so entrenched in media relations, that even if I was able to go on the road, I'd likely still be in some capacity doing what I do. Education is a huge component of traffic safety, and we're doing great work here on social media to educate people. And so that's why I'm not in the field. I'm a media relations officer who, although at the moment don't have many options, this is really important stuff. All right, let's go on to other stuff and things. We got what can be done about drivers who block the sidewalk and crosswalk. Well, as police officers, there's things we can do when people don't stop in the right place. And if they cross into a crosswalk, certainly, while pedestrians are there's an issue. If they're in front of the crosswalk, and then you show up afterwards, they've started moving forward to make their turn, for instance, that's not exactly a problem. You may have to walk behind them. You have to wait until they get out of your way. If they're parking there, that's another. So it really depends on what you're getting at. If you're talking about people who are blocking the box and part of gridlock, there's all sorts of things in discussion, but there's tickets for that. But yeah, depends on what we're talking about. All right. JB says, hey, Sean, met you at the car show. nice to have met you. Although your initials don't immediately give me a face as a reference. I met so many great people there. So thankful that everyone came down and said hello. And did you interact? Were you there at the beginning or the end? Because we had a game show going. Did you try the laser speed measurement device that we were demoing? Did you try the radar? Did you try the drunk goggles? We had fatal vision goggles being demonstrated there. We had a lot of fun. We were really busy. The show was constantly feeding us people in terms of the booth was always busy. I got some great time-lapse photography of it to give you an idea, which we'll share later on in the week. Okay. Anyway, again, very nice meeting you, even though I don't recognize the initials as a particular person, but the fact that you said you were there is awesome. All right, moving on. What's the legal tint percentage? What's the legal limit for tint? Well, there's two different things at play. One, 30% light blockage is the maximum in Ontario. That means 70% of the light has to get through. But even that can be illegal, because if it's legal for certification when it's daytime or perfect lighting conditions, at nighttime when we can't see inside your vehicle, you can still be charged for the offense of obscure interior of motor vehicle with color or reflective tint. Yeah. Okay. David says, good job, guys, but shouldn't you be in a cruiser keeping the streets safe? Reddy covered that, David. There are roles. There's administrative roles throughout policing. There's lots of people that aren't on the street. I'm one of them, but there are many. Yeah, not every cop is on the street, and there's still police work to be done other than driving around waiting for a call. So, yeah, there's that. Let's see here. Cody Paul. Is it legal to have a Confederate flag front license plate? I live in New Brunswick where we don't need front plates, so am I able to have a decorative one? I don't know if there's anything against the law with putting something there in New Brunswick. If you don't need a front plate, having decorative front plates shouldn't be an issue. I don't know about the issue if there's anything negative associated or by law with a Confederate flag. Certainly some places don't appreciate those. And yeah, that's a political statement you're making. That's yours to make. What is the fine for a radar detector? Fine for a radar detector is $180, 2 demerit points. Of course, search and seizure comes with that. We can seize the item, hold it for the trial as evidence, and then have it destroyed afterwards. Okay, because you can't possess it, you can't transport it, you can't buy it, sell it, use it. You can't have radar detectors or laser jammers or all that jazz. How long is a warning on your record? That is a question that Chase is so eloquently retyped for AC. And the answer is their warnings are there forever. They're in our system. They're local. They're not an actual ticket. They're just there in our system so that we can look them up and say, we've spoken to you about it. Thus, you will not get another one. It's different than a conviction. Convictions stay on your record for 3 years from the date of that it's of conviction, and points stay on your license for 2 years from the date of the offense. Akela says, I enjoyed spending the Thursday at the auto show hanging with a friend. Yes, we were at Akela came by. We spent a lot of time there. It was a busy joint, but we got lots of good convo in, and I think lots of pictures were taken. I have to tell this computer to snooze because it wants to restart. Go away, computer. Well, don't go too far. We need you for this machine. Stephen Bell says, hi, good morning, Sean. I'm late. You're not late. You just got here later than everybody else. I guess that makes you late. It's okay. We're happy you made it here. Do you guys see all interaction history from police in Ontario and when you pull someone over? Yes, anything that's in the system. If we share the same database, like we're part of the same system, we'll see other convictions. We'll see potentially other checks. Depends if we are on the same type of computer system. Different services use different computers. Okay, for a second, I shall have a look at some other questions that are not. Oh, actually, I guess Chase is already bringing them across. I was going to try and look at TikTok for a second. Can you have white turn signals in Ontario? Turn signals. So light to the front must be white or yellow, but those are headlights for white. You can't have white turn signals. That would be weird and wrong. To the rear, you can only have red or amber. So again, not legal for the rear. You should have amber turn signals or red. AB, car seat for 2-year-old can echo in the, what is this? Car seat for 2-year-old can echo in the front of the car. I'm not sure what the echo means. At the end of the day, a car seat can be installed legally in the front seat. There are cars that only have front seats, and it is legal to put them there. It is not the safest option. Back seat is best until 14 years of age. But if the car seat is the child safety restraint is properly installed, it is not unlawful to have them in the front. But I would put the seat as far back as possible to give as much space as possible to the what can be deadly airbag. It is great for adults in conjunction with a seatbelt, but it is not good for kids. That's why they usually either auto disable or have a key disable. Some vehicles cannot be disabled at all. Why is the speed limit of Ontario 90 kilometers an hour, but everyone drives 130? Well, it's not 90. It's 90 in some areas, and in other areas it's 100. In some areas it's 110. Why do people do 130? Because they're choosing not to follow the law, and they're eligible for tickets. Okay, and just again to reiterate the fact that that's not Chase and questioning that. It's Junit 71 who asked that. Chase just happens to be filling in as an unofficial producer. Can't make you official. You got to join the job. All right. Would I be okay to fight a speeding ticket undefended? So you mean unrepresented, because you would be defending yourself, but unrepresented by a professional, a lawyer, what do they call them? I know many people with this job, and my mind skips on the name of this. It is a paralegal. You don't have to get representation. You're entitled to defend yourself. I've heard the lawyers say the line of what is it? The lawyer who represents himself has a fool for a client. Is that the line, or is it he who represents himself? I don't know. Something like that. Google it. In any case, you have the ability of negotiating for yourself or representing yourself, and if you go to trial, you go to trial. Now, you may choose after. Actually, here's the best advice: go online, Google the POA guide for defendants. It's available for free. It'll give you an idea of what the defense process looks like, what the court process looks like, and you'd be in a better position to make a decision based on knowing some stuff and things. But I would also suggest talking to a paralegal or somebody who very often give free consultations. So there you go. Ashton Stein, what's going on? Good morning, my favorite officer. Long time no talk, no see, no nothing. Hope you're doing well. Okay. What? Oh, it was a pleasure to meet you. The Auto Show. That's from Julie Massey. Did I pronounce that correctly? I hope so. I can't put a face to the name, but it was great meeting so many people, including you. Oh, is it tech support? It probably is. Hang on one second. It was tech support. I got to write down this number because I do have to call them back because I'm using a borrowed computer. Okay. Cool. Moving along. What do we got here? Bosco Bebe. What do you think about the motorcycle scene? I miss the motorcycle scene. I'm a motorcycle guy. What scene are we referring to in particular? Owning, riding, enjoying motorcycles, or stunting and doing silly stuff on motorcycles? Let me know. But yeah, I'm all about motorcycles. Oh, why are motorcycles called 12 in some rap songs? I think it comes from Adam 12 and 19. What is the history on this? Adam 12 was an old TV show from the 70s, I think. Adam 12. Yeah, Adam 12 is an American police procedural crime drama television series created by Robert A. Senator, I don't know, and Jack Webb. No, not that. Was it reproduced in 1990? No, the original. I want to know about the original. 68 to 75. I think that's where it's getting its history. Why does the OPP only chase for 2 minutes then give up? I don't know if that's a policy. Generally speaking, if someone fails to stop and you continue to go faster and they continue to go faster, that's just putting the public and the idiot running away from police in harm's way. So they probably get all the identifiers and then just meet them at their house and arrest them there. That's what we do. What do we hear? Jay Knowles, can I use chrome tint on back? Back windows are not an issue. Chrome tint can't be used on the front two windows, the ones left and right of the driver. Obviously, you can't have any tint on the front windshield. But yeah, the rear passenger and rear windshield, is it called a windshield? What is the technical term for the rear window? Just rear window? I've often pondered this. In any case, the deal is you cannot put reflective tint on the windows beside the driver or the windshield, but otherwise it doesn't matter. You do have to have clear view to the rear by way of a mirror. Okay. Dan Bailey wants to know why you can't turn right on a red in Quebec, but you can in Ontario. You can in Quebec. You cannot in Montreal. It's a rule for the island, but it's not for the entire province, and that's because that's what they decided. Some believe it's safer. It may, in fact, be safer. It does change traffic dynamics a lot, but it makes it safer, and that's something that people are proposing to bring here, like in Ontario. Maybe it should be everywhere. Akila says Chase is on the TikTok case. He is indeed. Yeah, and Chase says he's got the time today, and we appreciate it. It really does make a difference. And I wish I could fix this. It would be very nice to get all these questions, but you are making it possible for the show to slide a little more smoothly. So much appreciated. Okay. Brock from YouTube says, good morning. It was great meeting you down at the auto show. Wish I could have chatted more, but I had to run. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Brock. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Chase has brought a message over from TikTok, says, Deep, is there any law that police is not going to give ticket to city transport if they are breaking the law? No, we're pretty good at like writing tickets for all the laws. If we catch them, if we notice them, if we inspect and determine that there was a violation, especially with transport vehicles, because those are putting more people at risk. It's a bigger vehicle with a it's a bigger consequence if something goes wrong. Those wheels fly off. I mean, wheels fly off bad. Big wheels fly off, bigger bad. Let's see here. Oh, I got a speeding ticket at 1:30 a.m., pitch black highway, no signage, clean record. Don't you guys give out warnings? I don't know what other than what you just told me. I know nothing about the particular situation. How much of a speeding ticket? Was it 10 over? Well, maybe that would have deserved a warning. Was it 20, 30, or 40 over? Then no, I wouldn't give you a warning for that. There's no place where 40 over the limit would be acceptable. Even if you were to assume the limit was an unsigned highway of 80, how fast were you going? So that I'd like to know more. But I'm not in the business of giving warnings for stuff that leads to serious injury and death. You forget your driver's license at home, maybe you get a warning. Maybe. I pulled you over for speeding, you're getting a speeding ticket. Let's see here. Oh, very nice. Akila's posting photos he took on Telegram. We have a Telegram group, telegram.trafficcop.ca if you'd like to join the conversation there. And since it's 10:30, I should probably remind everybody who I am and what I do here. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day, even when I'm not online talking to you. But I am here for you. If you want to ask questions, please join us either directly on YouTube at youtube.trafficcop.ca. You can, of course, use all of the different platforms, and we try and listen to everybody. Normally, the messages come through clear and nicely on the screen, but it's not working today. And maybe it's because it's out of practice. We haven't been doing this from the studio environment very much recently. That's not the reason, but we'll pretend it is. Anyway, join us here most weekdays from 10 to 11 Eastern time. And we're talking about maybe doing some afternoon or evening episodes. If so, what would be the best time? Now, being that you're here right now, this is probably a good time for you. And for you, most days will be this time. But maybe the occasional one should be for those people who are at school now or can't make it here because of work. And there's a lot of you that would likely impact. So try to figure out a good time. This is like dinner time. I don't know. Dinner time, people are eating. We'll move on. And we'll come back to this conversation. Maybe I got to do a survey on social media again. We've done that a few times. All right. As a pedestrian, what can we do to report a parked car in a crosswalk or sidewalk hazards parking? Okay. So it would be two parking. You could, depending on what it is. I mean, generally speaking, if you go to tps.ca, there is a link for reporting immediate parking violations so that a parking officer can be can be issued or assigned to it right then and there, and go deal with it. That would be the most appropriate. Question: pulled over in HOV, supposed to pull right or left? In most circumstances, that is a big trip to go across all 4 or 5 lanes of traffic to get to the right. So the closest curb or edge of roadway would be appropriate to go left. Now, it's possible that an officer will give you directions otherwise, but pay attention to everything going on, and yeah, left would be appropriate. Is it illegal to have YouTube video playing with phone and phone? Yes. Having a screen visible to driver is illegal. The only thing you can have is your lock screen or your, what's it called? GPS mode. That's it. Now, your lock screen, if you answer it, has a phone screen. If you're allowed to answer the phone as well. So phone mode or GPS mode, anything else could be an issue for you. A question from Thin White Line Interceptor, aka Ryan, who says, "Good morning, Sean. I hope you had a good time at the auto show. Any idea what your next event will be?" Yes, I will be at Comic-Con. We have a booth there that is working with MAD, and our friends from OPP may be making an appearance, but that's the next event that I'll be involved in. And in terms of when that is, let's have a quick look to confirm. It's like in 2 weeks. Let's confirm. I like confirming. Comic-Con. March 15th to 17th. Yes. Comic-Con is actually Fan Expo, who holds Comic-Con, but it's called Toronto Comic-Con. Get your tickets now. That's what their website says. Advanced price $23, full price $28. 3-day passes from $60, full price $70. I don't know when the cutoff is, but there's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, we'll be there talking about impaired driving, bringing our impaired or fatal vision goggles, doing some live streaming, creating some content. We'll be having fun, and I hope you can come out and say hello. AK wants to know, underglow laws in Ontario got pulled over the other day. Well, depends. Depends if you're projecting light outward versus directly against the ground, if your bulbs are visible, if you have flashing lights, depending on the color of the lights. There is no particular law that is specific to underglow. So it all depends if you're projecting light other than yellow or white forward, if you're projecting light other than red or amber to the rear. Yeah, it depends. Tell us more, AK. And Moto Brew wants to know, hello, love the TikTok and the informative videos. Thoughts on motorcycles and lane filtering? Motorcycles are awesome. I love them. I ride them. I haven't been riding for a while, but it's part of my life. It will never stop being part of my life. I just taking a pause. In terms of lane filtering, I have mixed emotions. I see the value in it, but it's not expressly legal or illegal. It can be considered careless, stunt, or dangerous, depending on what we're seeing. Lane filtering is generally a slow speed maneuver where you're moving to the front of the pack or moving inward so you are not the last vehicle in line. Now, I totally support moving in so you're not the last vehicle in line, because so many people are on their phone. Drivers tend to drive into other vehicles. Motorcycles don't feel good when they're run into. I know I was in a collision. And I don't have a problem with people moving up a little bit, waddling through. Riding to the front of traffic could be an issue. Have you seen how other drivers respond? They're not paying attention. That could be bad. If you're talking about lane sharing, where you're just scooting through traffic at speed, that I am not supportive of. That is something where I would charge you for either careless, stunt, or criminal dangerous, depending. Can I drive my dad's vehicle if I'm not on the car's insurance? You can if you don't live with it. Well, technically, if you're a licensed driver and you're qualified for that class of vehicle, you can operate that vehicle. However, the insurance company may say that they're denying a claim if you live there, because if you live with them, they usually want to hear from you and your checkbook to pay for occasional driver coverage. I'm going to spill. Okay. And cars 350 horsepower. Is that illegal? Our police interceptor, or the stock vehicle, is 370, I think. So a car that is 350 is less than some stock family vehicles now. That's not a lot of horsepower. I think a base, I'm really curious now. I think a base Mustang, 6-cylinder, find that 6-cylinder Mustang. I think E6. Okay, 2015 to 17 is 300 horsepower stock. I want to know what like this year's Mustang is. Maybe they have more rows. Let's see. That's useless. Come on. Oh, here. 2022 Shelby is stock 760 horsepower. That's the GT500. A GT350 is 526. The Mach 1 is 470 or 480, depending on the year. The Bullet was, what is that? I don't know what that is. 453 horsepower. These are standard. I mean, they're high performance, but they are stock out of the showroom. 415 for the GT. It says export. I don't know what that specifically says. Oh, I guess maybe it's for a European market, it's 415 horsepower, but the American market, 450 horsepower, 460 or 435, depending on the year of manufacture. So yeah, no, 350 is not, by virtue of being powerful, illegal. Are people allowed to ride in the back of a pickup? No. In Ontario, you have to be occupying a seat that has both a place to be designed for passengers to ride and seatbelts. One person, one seatbelt. I've been wondering if Toronto police use pit maneuvers to stop fleeing vehicles. I mean, we get that training at the police college, but do we do that? I mean, intentional contact is sometimes required. Pit maneuvers are high risk. What is the penalty for driving in the HOV with only the driver? I think it's $180. It's either 150 or 180. Regardless, it's not legal. Don't do it. You can only be in that lane if you are a bus, and it's like a city. Is it any bus? I think buses are permitted there. Then you have the green plated vehicles, those that qualify for green plates and have green plates. They are allowed there. Motorcycles are allowed there. Okay. Sebastian Klein wants to know, is still drinking and driving if you have non-alcoholic beer? No, because the drinking and driving, it's really not drinking and driving, it's impaired driving, impaired operation even. And non-alcoholic beer is not something that's going to get you impaired. It's just bad tasting water. I don't understand the concept of near beer. I don't get it. Luke Andrew, you ever gave a ticket to someone who missed a turn and U-turned? U-turns, if made unsafely, is a ticket. So yes. I don't understand. People do the silliest things when they are in motor vehicles. Like, if you miss your exit, is it the end of the world? Take the next exit. Figure it out. You got GPS. Why on earth would somebody either hammer on the brakes? I've seen reversing on the highway to go back for the exit they missed. Come on. U-turns, not a good idea. I'm not a particular fan of people who make U-turns in the streets and congest traffic. If it's safe to do so, is really simple concept. If there's other people around, it's probably not safe to do so. So many collisions, so many deaths as a result of people choosing to make last minute U-turns because they don't want to find a new route. How fast can a bicycle legally go? Up to the speed limit? If it's truly a bicycle, if it is a bicycle pedal, no power, then it can go as fast as it wants. There's no speed limit for bicycles, although you could get a ticket for careless driving if it was seen to be a risky event. Hey there.
Well, hello.
I have a sergeant entering the room, thus entering the camera and joining us on microphone.
It has been a while.
It has. I don't know if you want your headphones, but they are there.
Well,
you left them.
Where the heck?
And yeah, that's the question about legal. If we're talking about e-bikes, they're not legally allowed to exceed 32 kilometers. Actually, they cannot be capable of going faster than 32 kilometers on a flat surface. If they were modified to go faster, they're no longer e-bikes. They're motor vehicles, and then they're subject to speeding offenses.
Well, they're always motor vehicles.
But they
They
don't have
just-
the benefit of the
They just have an
legislation.
exemption. So.
Yes. Once again, TikTok not working in conjunction. So Chase has taken it on his as an unofficial producer to paste in TikTok questions.
Well, thank you, Chase.
He's an awesome dude. I might have to buy him a donut. It's an official kind of like producer credit.
Can you actually hear me? Because
I hear you.
I can't hear myself talking through the headphones.
Oh, really?
But I can hear you.
I think there's a way to fix that. Let's see here.
That's okay. I know what I'm saying.
I
so
know what I can do to fix that. How about now?
Now I don't hear anybody.
How about now?
Now I hear you.
Okay.
Now I hear me.
Hey, see?
Hey, I'm back.
you never left. Let's see.
Actually, I did. I was away for a week.
Well, I was sort of away, but I was here, but not here.
Let's see.
You were really not here.
I was really not here. I went in search of snow and I found it. It was awesome. I had a really good time.
So you snowmobiled where you went?
I did.
So
I did.
I wasn't sure if you towed stuff or not.
I towed and I found snow and I snowmobiled and had a really good time.
Are you ready for spring now?
Apparently it has arrived today.
Is that official?
No, I have a look outside and there's.
When is it? When are we officially spring? I say this with shock because I don't pay attention to this stuff.
Sometime in March or April.
Okay, it's coming. Yeah. Let's see here. How are laws going to have to change with AI becoming more prominent? AI, artificial intelligence, when it comes to driving? We're talking about autonomous vehicles. What do you mean in general? I don't know. That's such a wide open area, and it goes beyond what I focus on. But
I have a feeling AI is going to shape the future of transportation. The design of vehicles and design of roadways, sidewalks, intersections, crossings, everything will be AI will be used to make them safer and easier. Hopefully, allowing people to travel a little smoother without collisions, injuries, or slowdowns.
As long as it doesn't utilize the route I took this morning while it rerouted me, because if it just sends you all over the place.
I heard you got stuck in a traffic jam.
I don't know what happened. All I know is it smelled like skunk, and there was nobody moving anywhere, and it rerouted me off the road on this cockamamie route, and then back onto the highway where there was no traffic, and to eventually get here a little bit behind schedule. But the end of the day is, I heard rumors that there was a car like teetering somewhere. There was some serious collision. So
that's not good.
That's not good. And
on a good note, you arrived just in time for you and I to get coffee this morning.
This is true. Yes, it was magical. Linda says, "Good morning, hero. Thank you." And I assume that's heroes because this message was at 10:25. It's now 10:42, and you weren't on screen when the message came. Stephen Bell says, "Yesterday, my wife asked for my phone. I said, I'm driving right now. It's staying in my pocket until I am parked because I don't know $350 to pay it. It's actually $615. So you made a very wise decision. And simply picking it out of your pocket and handing it over could qualify. Well, does qualify. But if caught, that's enough for the ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't actually have to be using it, just putting it in your hand.
Well, that is use according to the courts.
There you go.
In fact, the battery could be absolutely dead, and you could just be using it to fan yourself, and that would be justified for a ticket of distracted. Many people say that's not fair. I say, don't touch your phone.
Well, don't touch it. No problem.
This is it. What are your thoughts on higher speed limit highways? Do you believe 110 is the cap? I believe that the law, whatever it chooses to be, is the limit. And if they decide to raise that later, I would be supportive of the fact that they are raising it. However, I have a problem when people choose to make up their own rules.
I totally agree with you. 110, I think, is a fantastic speed to be traveling on certain portions of the highways in certain areas, not all of them.
Yeah.
I have traveled, I just did 3,000 kilometers through a couple of different provinces. I've also traveled last summer through the States. Some of the speed limits have been raised quite significantly there. The problem with that is 110 is the limit on the sign, but nobody goes 110.
So if you keep going 20 to 30 over the limit, that's a problem. And if we raise the limit any further, people do 20 to 30 over because that's what they're used to. Just they ignore the law and say, I can do 20 before I get caught.
A lot of my friends say, at 20 over, you're safe. Just keep going 20 over and nobody will pull you over and everything's fine. So if we take the speed limit from 100 and everybody's doing 120 to 110 and everybody's doing 130. Are the crashes going to get worse? Yep. Are they going to be more frequent? Yep. Are they going to be more catastrophic? Yes.
So we have a lot of people who get away with their driving behavior because there's simply not enough people on the road policing it, because we're understaffed and we have to do a lot of different things as police. That's just the reality of the game. If we turned it into an automated enforcement situation where it was, let's say they made it 110 or 120 everywhere, but you did 1 kilometer over, you got a ticket. I think that would be a very interesting situation.
I think people would be very shocked.
Yes.
Kind of like what people get in the mail. They get a photo radar ticket and they go, I didn't even know. I didn't even notice.
Maybe they need to do what they do in England and Australia. And I believe it's demerit points that are issued in those situations. And in England, the cameras in the front are taking pictures of the driver. So
Well, also in England, they have a certain predetermined length of time. They take your average speed.
Speed zones.
So you slow down for the speed camera, and like everybody else in Ontario does, as soon as they're past the camera, they speed back up again. Kind of defeats the purpose. You know, in England, they will do a camera at the very start of the speed zone, and then 20 kilometers later or 10 kilometers later, they'll have another camera. And the speed that you travel to get in between, you could be held accountable for.
It makes sense. It actually gives you the benefit of the doubt, the average. So if you were to speed up for a second, but then you slow down, you may not get a ticket. But if you were giving a sustained speed, which is what most people are doing, that's when you're going to get that uncomfortable lesson. I see that TikTok suddenly started working.
Excellent.
It is always nice to see. But where is the question that, someone asked why we're not accepting gifts. Because we're the police and we're paid to be here. So we don't need to, although we appreciate the desire that you have to send us gifts, we don't need nor can we accept gifts. So we actually worked with TikTok to make it that any government organization on TikTok gets a category of not being able to receive gifts. Not even a choice.
You know what? Don't really need it.
No.
We're doing this to help you. And if it slows you down a little bit and saves another crash out there, that's gift enough to us.
That's exactly it. If we're making the roads safer by way of educating people so they can make better decisions behind the wheel, that's exactly why we're here, and we're happy to do that. But we are paid to be here. We're police officers working on duty, and a lot of people were shocked in the past asking this question, like, "But you get paid for TikTok and the police? That's wrong." No, we don't get paid from TikTok. We don't get any kind of profit share. Wouldn't that be nice if we could just buy a new Porsche because that discretionary fund that TikTok just says go have fun with this money?
Well, you know what? I made a decision this past week. I need a new truck.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
I need a new windshield wiper.
Well, we're going to fix your windshield wiper today.
This morning as I was coming in, aside from the skunk smell and all the misery of rerouting, my right windshield wiper stopped wiping,
which is not safe.
No,
but it could be kind of disastrous if your left one stops.
Well, yes. So my first order of business, if we can't fix it today, will be to go to the mechanic and let them fix it.
Yep, absolutely.
Because wipers are important. Let's see here. How to pay for my camera speeding ticket. Instructions should be on your camera speeding ticket when you receive it in the mail. If you haven't received it in the mail, you need to wait.
Actually, the best way to pay for them?
Not get them?
Yeah. Just saying. You know what? I get it. Sometimes your attention is not where it should be, and things happen.
People make mistakes.
All more reason that your attention should be more on the roadway than on everything else that's going on.
For sure. Linda wants to know where our little teddy bear is, buddy. He's off in the corner. So this room looked like a giant earth-shattering kaboom had gone off. And it still sort of does, but it's in the process of being rebuilt. I haven't even taken the corner traffic services signage stuff out of the transport cases, the showcases. So he's off in the corner until we can give him a comfortable place to hang out. Oreo says, "Love your stream. Keep up the great work." Thank you very much. Much appreciated. We got here. Andy says, "Thank you. I don't know what for, but you're welcome." Let's see here.
I don't think that's Oreo.
What is that? How do you pronounce that?
Oru.
Oru?
Oru.
Maybe it's suggestive. I just like Oreos. I saw a bag of Oreo minis on AJ's desk. He was offering them, and I had to say no and exhibit self-control. Let's see here. Kayla hopes that at the at Comic-Con, he can drag me out of the booth to do some videos walking around. I think we could do that. I did a little bit of that sort of kind of at the auto show where I was wandering a bit. And I think that doing some coverage of the actual event might be good. Problem is that these events tend to have a lot of great vendors that sell stuff, but we don't want to advertise stuff. We want to talk about the educational stuff and the artists.
Right.
That's kind of cool.
Actually, you know what? Everybody there is kind of selling stuff. Even car manufacturers there are selling stuff. While I was at the car show, I can't tell you how many times somebody came up and goes, "Are these cars for sale? Like, can we buy these?" And
Oh,
we
wait,
went,
at the our booth?
yes. Yeah, multiple people said that.
Now, I got amazing responses about our yellow 88 Plymouth. People were in love with that car. And they'd come up to just taking pictures, staring at it, touching it, made of metal. They were
Real metal,
not the plasticky stuff.
even though it's a Plymouth.
Well, but it's amazing how that it's come full circle where this car that nobody really cared for is now this thing that they wish they could own.
Right.
Just
Right. It wasn't a good car back then.
was not.
Personal opinion.
No, I
anyways.
don't disagree with you,
But
but now it's nostalgic, and occasionally, although I left the doors locked because we don't want anybody getting into our classic stuff and damaging it. It's old. It's
Yep.
hard to find parts. I did open the door occasionally and said, "Smell 1988," and you put your head in this thing. And I drove it to the show. It smells like the 80s. It's nostalgic. It's this old vinyl. It just doesn't smell like new car or old car. It's that car.
Yep. That one, the Crown Vic. So our Crown Victoria police car that we had there,
Mhm.
so many people came over and said, "You know what? This is the iconic police car that everybody remembers."
It truly is. I'm glad we brought it. There was a last minute addition to the show.
Yep.
And it is, there's something called Panther. There's Panther meets. So there's a Panther platform. I had no idea. The Mercury Sabre, all of these vehicles were built on the Panther platform. And I had this education from a gentleman from the Rovers who educated me. And I'm actually speaking at a Rovers event in a couple of weeks. But the deal is that he has a Panther. He has he has a Crown Vic. I believe it was a Crown Vic, but there's a whole bunch of them. And now I kind of feel bad for not having bought one when I had the opportunity. I could have had one for $1,500.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to drive one every single day.
It's
So
just true. But now they're gone and I miss it.
the last true great rear wheel drive car. Now, terrible in the snow, awful in the snow
Compared to options we have now.
compared to what we have now.
Yeah.
But a good solid car that is dependable that ran forever. Absolutely.
Someone says spamming. Please don't spam. Emma's talking about it. Don't know when it actually occurred because now this backlog of messages have come through. That could have been at any time. But yes, please don't spam. Chat is for chat and asking questions, but not repeating your questions. We'll get to it when we get to it. Rook says, plan your trips with GPS. It is so important. That's such a great message. It is for before you get going, not after you're on the road playing around. Now, you do have the voice assistant on many of the platforms. You just say, hey, Google or whatever, take me there.
You know what? GPS has gotten much, much better. I had an experience once where I found somebody down a snowmobile trail up close to where I snowmobile, and they were probably half a kilometer into the snowmobile trail before they realized that their GPS had taken them down a closed road
Oh my.
that had become a non-maintained road in the wintertime. And they were stuck and their tow bill was huge. But don't rely solely on GPS.
Still use your eyes?
Just use some common sense.
Yeah, I agree. But when's the last time you ordered a triptych from the CAA?
I don't even know what that is, but I can just.
So back in the day, you would go to a trip. You were planning a trip. There was no such thing as GPS. You would go to CAA or another auto roadside service place, but the one I used to use was CAA, and you'd order a triptych, and they'd go through the map, and it was a page-by-page turn of your trip, whatever trip you wanted, and they highlighted the route. So it was a flip book of your
Wow.
route, and we used to do that for all of our major trips. I drove to Florida. It was with a triptych.
Wow.
And you kept it because you could make the same trip twice.
See, I just used a map.
But that is a map. It just was a custom-made map. I was a member, so they did that for you. It was no extra charge, as far as I can remember.
That's pretty cool.
I liked it. It was cool.
Back when I was in school, probably primary school, there was actually a map reading and map folding was part of the class.
Map folding was a course?
Well, you had to know how to fold up the maps.
Okay.
There was an art to it.
Apparently I missed that class, but I just thought it was like a thing. Why is this person there was a lot of words I was going to use. The I won't even bother. Some people who think that it's okay to say things on live streams. I don't generally have feelings, but donut comments. I mean,
You know what? If I had a feeling, then I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah, there's a thing I like to say. Yeah, as a traffic cop, you leave your feelings at the door, because everyone's got an excuse.
At the door when you walk in,
yeah,
or the door when you first start.
I think it's when you become a traffic guy in
Yeah.
particular. But I may have always been a traffic guy.
You know what? My feelings changed when I became a police officer. So
Yeah?
feelings, they just changed.
So how so?
I care more about more people all of the time.
Which is why you give tickets.
Well, that's why I give tickets, because I look at the bigger picture as opposed to the individual that's made a choice not to, consider the rest of the world while they were driving.
Now, and it's funny you say that. We get to see some pretty horrible things throughout our career. Fatalities, pedestrians injured in the worst way as a result of driver behavior. So when we write a ticket, it's with all that behind it. That's why we're doing the enforcement. And there's some police officers who have never been exposed to that, and they don't see the same reality from the same perspective as we do.
The reasoning behind it is a little bit different than, when you've been to your, 5th fatal collision in 2 weeks, then you know what? You look around and go, no, everybody needs to slow down.
There's a reason these collisions are happening. There's nothing oopsie-doo okay about it. All these are preventable. They're totally unacceptable. And there's lives and communities that have been negatively impacted and will continue to mourn and suffer as a result of the actions of one or a number of drivers.
And that's why we don't call them accidents. We call them collisions, because that's exactly what they are.
Bick wants to know if they can drive a supercar with no rear bumper. Bumper cars is bumper cars.
Bumper cars?
Bumpers are a required piece of technology on cars.
On cars, but not trucks.
True, but that's a supercar.
So
it must have some kind of integrated bumper. I mean, you cannot remove the bumper.
On a truck, you can.
But not on a supercar.
On a passenger car vehicle, no, you can't.
And actually, with trucks, I thought it had to have been as it was manufactured, unless it was converted to something else. So I guess that's removing it's converting it. But if you had, like, you order them straight out of the factory, they can be driven without the bumper because it came that way. And then when you put the hub on the back, it's going to get a bumper.
Different standards for different classes
Yes.
of vehicles. The truck portion of it, whether it be a personal use pickup truck, didn't require it. And a lot of manufacturers actually tried to change the classification of their vehicles because the standards were much less.
Well, it was one of the reasons they got the heavyweight vehicle with the Mercedes, whatever that. What's that Mercedes called?
I don't know. This is your
the big one. The big one.
The G-Wagon?
The G-Wagon.
A Chrysler PT Cruiser was actually classified as a utility vehicle as opposed to a passenger vehicle. And the standards for it to be brought into Canada was much less.
Wow.
So it saved the money.
I guess that's the goal. With all the motor vehicle collisions involving commercial vehicles, why don't you guys set up more inspection spots?
We have 4 guys out every single day, specifically dealing with commercial motor vehicles, whether that be large ones or small ones. Usually they are ones with a greater weight and greater displacement of air. I got to tell you, though, my 3,000 kilometer trip, I'm going to say that the most professional drivers that I witnessed out there were all the commercial vehicle drivers as I drove across multiple provinces and multiple highways. 100% great respect to them.
He's not even seeing these questions, says Kelsey Butt.
Whose questions?
That one.
That question?
We saw it.
Actually, we weren't earlier, or you weren't earlier.
We weren't earlier. Akila says, hi, Serge. And now things are popping off the screen so quickly that we can't keep up with them because we're 20 minits behind. Is the delay. There was a question that I was going to click, but it's disappeared. When do we stop registering our license plate?
So you always have to register your license plate. You don't have to renew it depending on the class of vehicle that you're driving. If it is over the 3,300 kilogram, I believe it is. Don't quote me on that because I'm probably wrong. You still require a validation sticker on it and renewal every year. They're going to stop all the renewing of license plates. I believe it's coming up on the end of this year.
I don't know the date. I knew that you were talking about it. I didn't know it actually had taken action. And we have to get a memo before we start acting on it.
Right. So at this point right now, you still have to do it. It's an online renewal. You don't have to go in. You don't have to get a sticker. You don't have to do anything. Just make sure you don't have any outstanding tickets or fines or 407 fees or parking tickets, things like that.
Because those things will prevent it from renewing
Right.
automatically. Okay. There's a good question here. I'll put this one up now.
Okay.
Hey, if there's such a desperate shortage of police, how do you both have time for this podcast? Ruben wants to know. It's a good question.
Yep.
I'm in here because my role is media relations officer. And as an additional layer, I happen to be unable to go on the road because of an injury. Otherwise, I'd probably be doing a little bit of both. But there's always going to be someone in need to be in this role because this was a 6-person office once upon a time, and it is now me. So there's fewer people doing those jobs because more people are on the road.
And if you notice, I can't be here every day. I'm doing 16 other things all at the same time. I take time out of my day, sometimes during my lunch hour, to actually come in and sit down here and be with Sean. Sometimes it's on my own time. Sometimes it's work time. It all depends on what I have time to do every day. I still go on the road. I still have stuff to look after. I still have things that I need to take care of as a sergeant here. And I do it, but I do my best to try and duck my head in when I can.
Because we know this is important stuff. And this is not the only thing I do. It's just one of the things I do. And there are many other hours in the day.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it is absolutely reasonable to ask the question of how do we do what we do? There's a lot of positions within the police that are administrative and they require police officers to do them. So just because we're not on the road doesn't mean we're not doing police work. Earlier we talked about this and I thought it was something we could come back to since you were here. Can you have white turn signals? White colored turn signals?
Nope.
Not lawful.
Nope, not lawful at all. And I did notice that an awful lot of trucks now, a new trend, trucks over 80 inches wide have to have the yellow
markers.
lights in the middle, and they are amber lights facing forward. On the rear of the vehicle, it is 3 red lights facing rearward. The new trend is to put white lights.
Oh, isn't that genius?
So up on the roof of their cabs or something like that. The whole idea of that is because vehicles that are extra wide, over 80
could look like
inches,
2 separate vehicles.
could look like 2 completely separate vehicles.
Yeah, it makes sense. When we're at a left turn and opposite side, there's someone who's taking a right turn on yellow. I'm assuming they're asking who can go first. So you're crossing the intersection. You both have greens, or now you both have yellows.
So you're making a left turn.
Across traffic.
You're in the intersection. You're lawfully occupying the intersection. Somebody is coming, oncoming, and is making the right turn. You believe to be on the yellow, but you're not looking backwards to see what light they're looking at.
Mhm.
You're looking forward, because if you were looking backwards, it'd still be your fault. You then are making a left turn, crossing a traveled lane of traffic where the obligation is upon you 100% of the time to make sure that it's done in safety. If somebody is making a right on a yellow light that you don't know is actually yellow, could be an advanced green. You don't know. And if you're looking backwards, you're not paying attention to what you're doing. Just wait. If it's obviously red, they have an obligation to stop. You have an obligation to clear the intersection, but do it when it is safe.
Safety is the priority. And when you don't do things that are safely, bad things happen. Okay. Is remaining silent and not answering questions going to be interpreted as being uncooperative? I think it is uncooperative, isn't it? What's your name?
It depends on the question. If you're in a getting pulled over, you have certain things you're obliged to say. But you don't have to incriminate yourself, and you don't have to answer all the questions. But that may lead somebody into, I wonder what's going on here. What is the problem? Is there something further that I need to investigate?
Well, that's it. We call that a clue. People who are generally open and honest are not hiding anything, and those things go very smoothly. And when people start acting out of the norm, that gets the spidey senses tingling.
There's still no problem with saying I prefer not to answer that.
Sure.
Where are you coming from? Well, it could be part of my investigation, but you don't have to answer it. If you do, it could mean something, it might not mean something. So the choice is yours. Yet there are certain things that you have to answer. You have to be able to identify yourself. Just by handing a driver's license may not be sufficient.
True. And there's obviously an obligation for that as well. Would you say that username is Bueller? Because now I want to watch Ferris Bueller. I know it's not spelled the same.
I like it.
I like it. How about governing vehicles straight out of dealerships? I've talked about this. What do you think about having vehicles that cannot exceed the speed limit? I'm assuming that's what they mean by governing
vehicles, like speed limit governing.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Like
why do we need cars to go 250 kilometers an hour or more?
Because it's fun.
Well, there's that on a track
in the right place. In Ontario, in Quebec, commercial motor vehicles are governed to 105.
Commercial vehicles, yes.
It works.
Well, and now there's people who are saying, well, the speed limits in some areas are 110. We can only do 105. It's dangerous. Truth is, the majority of people who aren't governed are going way, way faster. So would it work? It would absolutely work. And there's technology available today that would allow it to be geofenced and trigger different speeds based on geographic location.
Yeah.
That's geofence. Yeah, I think it would be great. Speed management could really change the safety on our roads.
I guarantee you would see a huge drop in collisions.
Yes. And people trying to figure out how to hack it.
Well, that's the problem.
There are so many problems. What is this? There's a question about...
Answer the question, please.
Which one?
John 782 wants a question.
Answer the question, please.
So the answer is
42.
Yeah, exactly it is.
Why is there such a big issue with people using high beams and nothing being done about it? There's so many big issues about so many things. I drove here this morning. There were a half dozen cars with their taillights off, meaning they were utilizing their low-powered high beam bulb daytime running lights, and they believed that their entire system was active when it was in fact not. I see them all over the place. Last night I had to do a drive to IKEA because I broke some parts of the kit I was building. Anyway, as a result, I saw a whole bunch of people driving with no headlights on. It's an epidemic.
I see people that have a headlight out, and instead of wanting to get caught for having a headlight out, they just turn on their high beams so that it makes it look like both sides are working.
Yeah.
You know what? It's worse. Because not only do you have a headlight out, but you're blinding everybody else.
But you can see, so it doesn't matter about anybody.
Wow.
No, yeah, it's very, very selfish. I like to carry extra bulbs and a screwdriver or a toolkit with me because I can make those changes on the fly. I know that some modern vehicles cannot do that, though. So you do what you can do. And if you get a ticket, it's on you. What do we got here? Boom, boom, boom. Bicycle. Oh, are bicycles allowed to drive two abreast on the motorway? Bicycles? So this is where you got to move to the right unless it's you're entitled to the lane under certain circumstances as a cyclist, but you're expected to ride to the side of the road, not to take up the entire line, unless you can maintain the flow of traffic, the lawful speed limits, and not obscure or obstruct traffic. So there's a lot of depends in that.
So if you're too wide and you're just doing it because you want to have a chat with your friend, colleague, fellow cyclist, and you're obstructing the flow of traffic, you can get a ticket for it. There's nothing that says you cannot ride abreast. It depends on what you're doing with the flow of traffic around you.
Yes. Can you call the cops on a cop driving really reckless on the road? Reckless driving, that could be a medical incident. It could be all sorts of things. It could be a stolen police car. What's really reckless? It depends on what you're talking about. I mean, you can call the police and report anything if it's lawful and not to abuse the use of 911.
Absolutely. And you know what? We have a ranking system at the police. And if somebody is doing something they're not supposed to do, absolutely give us a call, and a higher ranking person will go in and investigate.
Yes.
And hold that person to account. We are the most scrutinized, most watched, most held to account profession, I think, ever.
I don't
And-
think there's anybody else who compares because there are so many levels and a new level. The inspectorate general position is new.
Yes.
There's even another, like, we are the most scrutinized without question than anybody else. And I think that's an international fact.
And you know what? If we're doing something wrong, we want to know about it because we want to fix it.
For sure. We ourselves take care of ourselves in terms of if there's something going on that is wrong and we see it, we should be acting on it to stop that from happening. If it gets beyond that, like there's so many levels that everyone is responsible. And if we were not, if someone was to allow that, another police officer was to allow something that was illegal to take place, we would be party to it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, nobody wants to lose their job and take their oh, so someone says scrutinized, yes, held accountable, no. I would argue with you, we're absolutely held accountable. I always use the example because I think it's a really good one. A friend of mine was going to an assist PC call. In doing so, ran assist PC. So police constable saying, I'm in trouble, come help me,
It's
panic
an emergency,
situation.
life and death.
Everyone's got to go. Everyone runs. He ran a stop sign while doing that. He got docked 4 hours on a legitimate 4 hours pay, legitimate call going to assist someone in a life and death situation. If that isn't scrutiny, I don't know. And holding someone accountable, I don't know what it is.
Well, you're not allowed to go through stop signs. And you put the public at risk and people at risk if you do it.
Now, for someone who says, well, what's 4 hours pay? Well, 4 hours pay means a lot to people who are getting paid for a living and need to pay their bills. And guess what? If you do it again, it goes up to 8. Go again, I think it's 16. I don't know when it starts getting into more serious.
Well, and then the Highway Traffic Act ticket.
In addition to that. Yes.
So not only do we get the ticket, potentially, we also get money taken away from us.
And you're also held up for any potential promotions, transfers, like that, any kind of documentation on our file. It's so much more than just the average person gets. And anyway, we are definitely held accountable. What do we got here? Is this a procedure of some sorts? I don't know what Caleb is looking for. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I got some stuff pinned, and then we got to go very shortly. But,
okay. Yep. I do have to go soon.
Can police not follow traffic rules in normal situations? What is normal? It depends on the rules. We are permitted to exceed this posted speed limit. That's something we can do in the lawful execution of our duties. It doesn't have to be a 911 call. It could be enforcement of the Highway Traffic Act. We're allowed to go faster than everybody else because we kind of need to. If we just sat in traffic with everybody else, we'd never enforce the laws of those in front of us. We can't go back in time because everybody behind us is conceivably seen us. So there's justifications for certain things. It really depends. Can we go through red lights? If we activate our lights and sirens, we can. Can we use our handheld communication devices, radios, computers, and cellular phones? We can.
So in all these situations and other ones as well, it depends on the set of circumstances. But we're always, once again,
held accountable
should something go wrong.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Consistently. Earlier on that we were talking about underglow. They got a ticket for underglow, and their ticket was for green facing downward, individual LED not visible. So, and you got a ticket for that. So I don't know what went on to that, but yeah, it could be perceived as projecting light in a direction with a restricted color. Yeah, green is restricted for volunteer fire.
So if I stand in front of your vehicle, anywhere in front of your vehicle, close up or way far back, and I can see green light coming from your vehicle, I give you a ticket. Pointing down doesn't change the fact that the green light is being projected forward.
And my perspective on the same situation, and this is where we always differ, is if I see a bulb and I see the light being projected at me, not reflected off the ground, then I would do the same thing. But to me, reflected, if it's just glowing on the ground, I don't have a problem with it. But that's where individual officers interpret the law differently, and you can get different responses. It's not always clear, and and everyone, and we're talking different jurisdictions. It's not this is it, because there is no specific law on underglow, but there's lots of other laws.
Right.
Okay. I was going with the flow of traffic 400 north, about 108 kilometers. York Regional Police flew by me with no lights on. I'm assuming is what I'm going to be psychic and say, with no lights on. And I'm further assuming that you mean, or you to know whether or not that's legal. And it is.
You know what? Sometimes, actually a lot of times, especially on a highway like the 400 series highways, it is quicker to go without the lights and sirens going. It really is. First of all, a siren is so hard to hear when you're
It's
traveling
about
at speeds.
one car length at highway speeds.
Yeah, which really is useless. And people do some pretty dumb things when you get behind them with lights going.
Oh yeah.
I've had a lady, I had this, and it was going on the ramp from the Don Valley Parkway to the 401.
Did they just stop in front of you?
Just slammed on the brakes. Live lane,
Eh.
just slammed on the brakes and stopped right in the middle of the 401. Cars flying by at 100 plus. And I was quicker. I would be quicker not having my lights going and passing that person safely.
Because
And
people panic. They panic. They don't know if it's for them, what to do.
Yeah.
People have fight or flight responses to those lights, and it can cause havoc. So yeah, it's not only safer and faster. Well, it's not only faster; it's often safer for us to go. With the only time we have to is when we're going through a signalized intersection displaying a red signal to us.
Yeah.
And when we're going through, we're still responsible for everything that happens. So yeah. Let's see here. We got good morning from Edmond, Oklahoma. Well, you're certainly the farthest from our current location, Catherine, based on the fact that no one else has told me where they are. But you get
there you
the
go.
props for being the
Good
farthest.
morning.
Yes. I don't know why. I just wanted to press a button. Can the cops? Oh, we talked about this already. Can the cops call the cops and the cops, or can you call the cops and the cops? Anyway, do you think that this is a good use of taxpayer money? Yes, I do. I think it's actually phenomenal, and it's the best bang for the buck that we've been able to get in the longest time. Like no one's doing what we're doing to the same level. We're the largest TikTok account with 655,000, I think, 55.3 thousand followers. We're getting to more people than anybody on the planet when it comes to traffic safety.
We have a consistent following of people that join us on and off all the time because they have questions that they want to answer to. They want the ability to talk to a police officer in a forum where you can ask the question and get it answered. Why would we not do this?
And we just had an example of the other way, the way we used to do it. We just did the auto show for 10, 11 days. We had 5 officers there. Granted, a lot of that was volunteer time,
Yep.
but it was, to pay someone to do it. We used to do all the shows and to be available for that kind of forum. And now what we're seeing is people coming and saying, I love what you do online. Keep it up. You're doing great. You got me my license. You helped me avoid tickets. So much positive feedback that just reinforces that what we're doing here is super important and appreciated by the public. So if one, or in this case, 2 people coming online to provide some educational information is a waste of money, then answering telephones is a waste of money.
And you know what? This is not, it's not being staffed by somebody who is available to go on the road and do frontline police work right now.
But even if it was,
but no, we're using our resources smartly.
Mhm.
We're putting the right people in the right places, doing the right job at the right time. We're being accountable. We're using the taxpayer dollar properly, the best that we can do.
But on the flip side, if this was a position staffed by an officer who could go on the road, this would still be a valid position to do what we're doing. We're one person instead of what 6 people used to do.
Like myself.
Yeah. You're doing the job of 20 people now.
Apparently, yes.
We've been doing a lot of shifting around. People are transferring in, transferring out.
My portfolio just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So
yes,
but I still take the time. I still try my best to get in here for a little bit of time every day that you're on here.
And we appreciate it. And with that, we have a dad joke. I have to
Ooh.
get a new calendar or something because now I rely on ASKaTrafficCop dad jokes. If you have a dad joke, please feel free to drop it there. We have to snooze this. Okay. Dad joke. Why can't a farmer keep secrets? Because the corn has ears, the potatoes have eyes, and the beans talk. That might be my favorite one.
Actually, you know what, Akela, that is probably your best one yet.
I think so. Yes. I give you props. That is the best. I'm looking here to see if there's any other. Oh, Chase says, having been an unofficial producer, I can attest that there are a lot of silly comments that need to be filtered out, and it's hard to do live. Yes, I imagine that's something in relation to a comment that we're not responding to everybody. It would be impossible to keep up with all of the comments because they're just nonstop. And I want to select this one before it runs away. Hello, sir. I'm from Australia. Now, are you in Australia or are you born in Australia? Because there's a big difference if you're in my time zone or you're across over there. And shout out to Australia. I have family in Australia. I had a lot of fun in Australia. Spent a lot of time there, and I want to go back.
So I've never been, but I do have family there.
No kidding. What area?
Sydney.
Oh,
Sydney.
see, my family's in Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Can't say Melbourne. It's Melbourne. But I rented a motorcycle in Australia. I was in Cairns. I took off and did all sorts of traveling there. I had a great time. So that's definitely.
I'd like to go.
Yeah, Great Barrier Reef.
They have sharks and spiders and
big spiders. Yeah. And I've got to go visit our friend from New Zealand because he says it's basically Australia without all the deadly big spiders.
Oh, they have sheep. That's green.
I gotta go everywhere. There's so many places in the world I have yet to go. Thanks for saying hello, Gerald. Let's see. Anything else? What we got? Anybody else with questions or comments or rude remarks? We got lots of rude remarks. Can a 20-foot, what is this? 20-foot truck can go no truck route? We're talking about a commercial motor vehicle. What is the heavy truck?
So a 20-foot, are you talking like a stake truck or are you talking a 20-foot trailer or what are you talking about?
I am not sure.
How far you're going, and if you're driving a truck and it says no trucks, it probably means no trucks.
Unless you have business on that street to an address. So that's an exemption.
Usually where it says no trucks, there's a caveat to the sign that says local deliveries only or local traffic only or it may say no trucks because there's a low bridge up ahead. It may say no trucks because there's overhanging branches.
Yeah. There's all sorts of reasons.
It may say no trucks because
weight.
The bridges can't handle the weight.
What we got here? We have one person who really doesn't like us.
Really?
Yeah.
What's not to like?
I don't know. But they even had an issue with the way I said Melbourne.
Oh.
They said I said Melbourne. I said Melbourne. Well, I said Melbourne, which is all the same thing. They hear what they want to hear. Straight truck. Someone clarified with a straight truck. So that's like a 25-foot truck. 25 foot.
Well, it's 20.
Well, straight truck is still be 20. The box. So 25-foot total length.
So the answer to that would be no, unless you're specifically, I would say, on a delivery specifically on that street.
Yes, which would limit you where you have the access point to the least amount of travel.
Must have the bill, must have the paperwork corresponding to it. Can't just drive down because you want to.
Do I need a rear fender on a motorcycle?
No, you need them on trailers, but I don't believe you need it on a motorcycle unless it is actually raining out and the roads are wet.
Oh, because of the rooster tail.
Yep.
Well, you figure a tire has to be covered with a fender or body panel. So yeah, a mud flap or fender would make sense. I mean, it's for the automobile. I wonder if it's for.
Yeah, I don't believe so on a motorcycle unless it is actually raining out of the time, and then you could get one for the water.
Good question. How do you guys deal with the Waze app and it alerting users to the presence of police?
It's amazing. The Waze app slows people down.
It is a good thing in terms of, and it's not the same as a radar detector, which actually detects the use of a speed measurement system. It is different because it's telling people that police are there. And if our lights are active, we're telling you that we're there.
Yeah. And sometimes it's safer. Well, a lot of times it's safer for us. I know the Waze comes out with police hidden. You know what? At least we can slow you down or you can help them to slow down. I use the Waze in the police car because sometimes it's the best ways to get there.
And I used to love when I was doing speed enforcement, being told that I was visible, which also told me that I need to change my location. So it helped me out. I use it all the time in my personal vehicle.
I have been somewhere and investigating something and bing, police ahead.
Before TikTok, that was the only way I felt famous.
There you go.
Hello from Wiki Tribal Police Service. Hello. Welcome.
Oh, where's that?
I don't know. Tell us more. But we'll have to follow you back. So thanks for saying hey. Do I need duck goose? I don't know what we're talking about there. Do I need insurance do I need to be on the insurance for my parents' car? if you're borrowing the car, you're borrowing the insurance. However, insurance companies could deny your claim if you're using the vehicle of a parent if you live with them. It'd be a policy a requirement that you get occasional driver coverage or be on the policy in some way.
Check with your insurance policy, check with your broker, check with the paperwork that your parents have. Yeah, insurance is a private contract between a company and whoever owns the car or whoever takes out the policy. Some may allow it, some may not.
But we don't have a problem with it. If we pull you over and you provide proof of insurance, it's not an offense under the Highway Traffic Act. It
Or
is
the
a problem when it
Compulsory Automobile Insurance Act.
even a better act,
Yeah.
the Compulsory
Yeah.
Automobile Insurance Act, more specifically. It is something, however, that could cause you not to get paid. So it's a big problem when you crash dad's car and they decide not to repair dad's car.
Yep.
It's an issue. Are radar detectors illegal in Ontario?
100%.
They're illegal.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Not only can we search the vehicle, we can seize the item, we can hold it for trial, we can have it destroyed afterwards, and you get charged.
And we can search anywhere in the vehicle, including you.
Yes.
And we can take stuff apart for the built-in ones that are hidden, ones that are built into the car. We can take them all apart and seize it. And we don't have to put it back together,
This is true.
which a lot of people are amazed at.
Which is why so many people just say, take it. Here you go.
Yep.
The tools come out and they go, here you go.
Tools.
Just fingers ripping things apart.
Yeah, it allows us to do it. So
Yeah, but
can we? Yeah, a lot of people don't want that done to their car.
no. How much take time I got back to Demerit Point? What? How much take time I got back to Demerit Point? Demerit points stay on your license from 2 years from the date of the offense. But it may not even be applied. If you could take it to court, it takes a year to get to court. They may only be on for another year because they're only applied after conviction. So
Yeah.
it's a weird place. We've got good morning from Prudhoe Bay, Alaska.
Oh, wow.
But I think Australia's got them beat
I think they're a little bit farther.
a little bit. But welcome and nice to
Yeah.
hear from you. What do we got here? The consequences of driving a commercial vehicle without a valid safety. Unsafe motor vehicle. Is that what we're talking about?
No, we're talking about the device.
The device.
Which would be the yellow inspection sticker that they get. I don't know what the specific fines are for it.
Yeah.
But it also goes against your CVOR, and your vehicle will be pulled off the road. And whatever you're delivering, doing, commercialing with, you won't be doing it that day until it is done.
Taken out of service.
Tow bill is expensive for bigger vehicles too.
Neela says, please investigate the drive test centers, especially Brampton, Downsview, selling licenses. That sounds like an interesting thing. I've been hearing a lot about this, and I'm sure people are being investigated as we speak, but it's something that's that I know they're auditing.
Selling licenses?
Yeah.
Just come and pay
Here's
money and here you go.
Give me money, I give you a license. Yeah, I've heard of this. Nikki says, I saw you, or just saw you at the Toronto Auto Show. I probably saw you back, unless you didn't say hello, and then I didn't know you saw me. Is a brake light mandatory?
One is.
Yes.
Only one.
2 to the front, 2 lights to the front, 1 to the rear. That's
Yep.
the minimum requirements. Can you stop? Can you fight a stop sign ticket if there were no lights and it was a new neighborhood?
No lights.
I've never heard of a lit.
Stop sign?
They're reflective. So you can fight anything, but will you be winning that fight? I don't think so.
Probably not. As long as it's properly posted. It can be brand new and you're just not paying attention and you still have to stop.
Yes. Let's see here. I don't
What time
want
we got here?
time to go.
I gotta go.
Yes. All right. I'm just going through.
It's been fun, guys. I'm glad I'm back.
Yes, I'm glad to be back. And I'm glad I'm glad you're back and safe and sound from your trip and
Yep.
back in studio. We'll be doing this again tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Yep. And I do have to run because I have police work to do.
Okie dokie. Toodaloo. I am going to wrap up. I just want to see if there's anything else that's that is interesting to speak to. How much over the speed limit will you allow without pulling them over? Depends on the area. Depends on the officer. I have a fairly low bar. I will pull someone over all day long for 15 over in a non-highway environment, non-high speed environment. But 15 over on the highway, there's so many people going faster. I'm going to take the faster person. Unless nobody's going faster, then I'll pull over for 15 over. No one's allowed to speed. It's against the law. Is it illegal to flash your high beams to warn other drivers of radar? Flashing your high beams is illegal. So yes, not because you're doing it for radar. I mean, it's immoral because you're going to stop someone from speeding temporarily so that they don't get caught, and then they speed up again. So you've done nothing other than save them a ticket, but as a result, they continue to be a bad driver and could kill somebody, and then it's on you, right? Except we're never going to know. So you'll have to just live with the fact that you've probably caused deaths if you high beams people. You high beams them. Reminds me of a couple of characters from cartoons. Okay. Often you have to be 25 or older to be covered under summer. That may be a policy situation. What would you do if you pulled over a G1 without an adult? It's not about an adult. It's about someone with a fully licensed G class and 4 years experience. And if I pulled someone over who was G1 on their own, I would charge them. They'd be G1 unaccompanied. They'd be getting all the fun stuff, including the 30-day suspension for the G1 unaccompanied. I would charge the person who owns the car and allowed them to drive G1 unaccompanied. If they didn't have permission from the vehicle owner, I would charge them criminally for take vehicle without consent. So yeah, it would be the start of a wonderfully long conversation that involves charges of one kind or another. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Quickly squeeze. What is this? What was the biggest surprise you had about the field on policing when you started out as an officer? I think my first week in the field, we had a homicide with like a body in a bag. Like there's been nothing but surprises. Okay, OPP audited for accessing CPIC. Yeah, we're not allowed to use CPIC for non-police purposes. So if they're being audited, I'm sure many people have been audited and charged and fired for things like that, or at least charged. What is this? Now people are being racist. What's this? Okay. Watching from Trinidad in the Caribbean. Right on. Spark Crew. Thanks for saying hey. It's awesome that we're truly an international episode. We have Australia, we have United States, all over, other provinces. It was New Brunswick earlier. Awesome. Do police actually look for stolen cars? What's the protocol? We actually look for stolen vehicles all the time. Our parking enforcement is running plates. We're running plates, and when we find stolen vehicles, we have a stolen vehicle recovered. And reports start, and the vehicle is taken from where it is found. If we pull off a vehicle that is suspicious, like it could be revinned, obviously we're always looking for vehicles. The specific protocol I can't provide for you. Okay. Can you see a driver's insurance plan? No, we're looking to find out if the vehicle is insured, not what they pay or what their coverage is, because it doesn't matter to us. We just need to make sure there's valid insurance on the vehicle. How real is citizens' arrest? Can I help the city fight crime? You'd be putting yourself in grave danger. Not the way to do things. Citizens' arrest is real. You can arrest for indictable offenses, and you need to know what an indictable offense is in order to do that. You also have to be understanding that if you decide to arrest someone for an indictable offense that you have found committing, you're probably going to get into a fight, and you're probably going to get hurt, and you're not going to get covered while you're sitting at home. It's a problem. Let the police do the police work. Okay. Would it be weird if you pulled someone over and they wanted a picture because they're a fan? I was posting for selfies and photos for the entirety of the auto show. I think that would be a little awkward, wouldn't it? Especially if I still gave them a ticket. Don't break the law. In fact, if someone was a fan of the show and they were still breaking the law, they deserve the ticket. Don't you think? Okay. Every cop is a human being at the end of the day, but when in uniform can't act biased on emotions. And that's a very fair statement. Biased, well, I don't know what the statement was or what the conversation was prior to me jumping into it, but yeah, we're all humans and we all have our own personal beliefs and things, but we have to be unbiased when we're applying the law. Okay. How do you renew your license plate? At the moment, you can go to TrafficCop.ca. Actually, if you go to TrafficCop.ca, it has to be redirected to the regular page where I have all the helpful, useful links. If you go down to TrafficCop.ca, then scroll down to Sean Shapiro, and then that's the regular page. You can go to useful links at the bottom. All right. Is it illegal to ride snowmobiles in the ditch? Yeah, snowmobiles can't be ridden in the ditch. There's areas that allow snowmobile use on the road, but if you're in Toronto, that ain't happening. And the ditch is not the road. That would be unsafe. Yeah, talk to the local governments and law enforcement in areas that allow for it. Toronto's not one of them, so I don't have that as a good answer for you. What's he reading? I'm reading the questions. What's going on here? Good morning to you. Great show from Jay Costa on Twitter. I don't think I saw any other questions from Twitter. You might be the only one. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Never say never H says, why aren't there more speed cameras and why not enough police on roads? Well, not enough police on roads because we don't have enough police on roads. We're understaffed, and police services across the country, if not the planet, are understaffed because not as many people want to be police officers and put their lives on the line. In today's day and age where people vilify the police for doing their jobs. So yeah, there's fewer applicants. It's not as cool as it used to be. Why aren't there more cameras? They have to put on cameras, cost money, and they need approval. But I don't know why they're not everywhere. I'd like to see them on every road. And what else we got here? When cops ask for insurance, what are they expecting? Proof of insurance, either the pink slip from the insurance company or the electronic version through a secure app provided by the insurance provider. Those are the only two options. Now that doesn't mean that you get away with it because you provided that. Okay, that providing one of those that says you have valid insurance is the starting point. But here's the wonderful thing you can do. As a police officer, we have 3 years to lay a charge for no insurance. So we look at your insurance information. From that point, we can continue the investigation when insurance companies are open to find out if you have valid insurance. And at that point, we can still come knock on your door and lay charges if you didn't have insurance on that day. Because some people, they get insurance, they cancel it after they receive the slips, and they keep driving on it. So very often we're continuing the investigation after the fact. Yeah. All right. With that, I absolutely appreciate all your time for coming out and hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again soon, like tomorrow. And in the meantime, I'll play the song I haven't played in weeks. It's called The Traffic Song, written, performed, recorded right here by cops for you.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
The question was, what time do I usually go live? The answer is 10 a.m. Eastern time, more often than not. If I'm in the office, we go live. If I'm not, we don't. And sometimes police work that requires us elsewhere takes priority, and we can't go live on certain days. So we do our best. And for all the people who say that song was amazing, well, thank you very much. I will pass it along to the officer who wrote and performed it, and is not in the office at the moment. It's not physically in this room, so I can't actually haul her over. All right. What do we got here? Oh, and they said, okay, thanks. Yeah, see us tomorrow when we are definitely going live, unless something happens. Be well.